Hi all, right back with more Labyrinth, playing the extended campaign, which uses the base game, the Awakening expansion, and the Forever War expansion. All three decks. Three decks, one deck each. Playing it solo. This is my part 11. So not long been away. Yeah, it is our turn. The last card they played was Homegrown. I can see on the discard pile, place to sell in the United Kingdom. Fortunately, it tested soft, and that's the card that they played previously. Couldn't play it for. I suppose we got quite lucky there, didn't we? That was a card that they randomly got from us with that previous card. I mean, they could quite have easily go Al Jazeera or Fatah. Mind you, I'm considering playing Fatah. I'm also considering saying let's take the hat and play Al Jazeera for the event and get rid of Fatah. I'm not 100% sure yet. Right, well, it's our turn and nothing to go into at the moment. So yeah, we got a little bit of joy, little bit of luck, should I say. Somalia tried a major jihad, failed with all three rolls, despite having a besieged regime marker. But that's still there, and then that shifted to ally with that as well. So would allow us to move troops there. We've got 4 cards left. Let's say they've got 3 or 2, 3. And been bashing my head against the wall, trying to get Afghanistan to good. And then thinking maybe I should do things that don't require dice rolls. Like, for instance, deploying these troops into Somalia and then try to disrupt. I mean, I could do. The fact these are activated, my 2 operations could be move into Somalia and do disrupt both troops, both cells away, which would also give me a boost to my prestige. That is 2 3-ops cards, remember, Grant. I mean, other options, well, right. I think we've got to wonder, are we going to play, if we play Fatah, no disrupt operations in Pakistan, right? Unless there's a regime change in Pakistan. I mean, for there to be a regime change in Pakistan means that there's going to have to be Islamist rule, they're going to have to take it over, and we're going to have to go hard and take. So, we're not going to be able to disrupt there until bad things happen. It's removed by Pakistani offensive. Now, I do know that the discard pile's open information. I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere. Well, if not, Grant's having a look at the discard pile. I'm pretty sure Pakistan offensive card was played. Let me have a look. Yeah, it was indeed. It's buried down in the discard pile here. Play with Pakistan ally and mark with Fatah, remove Fatah. Yeah, I remember. I had the card, didn't I? I had it and I thought, well, Pakistan's no ally and there's no Fatah in it, but you guys that have played the game more maybe would have thought this. Well, the problem is that this was way back, in my hand at the time. So if Fatah doesn't get put into play in the same turn, no, you can keep these cards. You can keep a card over for the next turn and keep doing that, I suppose. I remember doing that in my previous game. It was based on, I want to say, a card that I recall seeing being played in our video. In fact, yeah, it was regarding Somalia becoming Islamist rule, and the card allowed you to basically turn it away from Islamist rule into a poor neutral country or something like that. And I kept the card for a few turns and then eventually realised that I had to get rid of it. And because although this is a 3-deck game, this deck's not going to get reshuffled. because we're going to play, like I've just said in the introduction there, really, to this one, which I've not said all the time, just thought I'd add that. We're going to play with Awakening deck as our second deck. Now, is it possible any of these cards are passed over? I mean, could there be a Pakistani offensive card in the new deck? I don't think so. I think you might get the likes of the oil price spike right enough, but... Well, maybe. I'm not sure. I've got to kind of think that no. So, yeah. So, brings us back to, if we play Fatah, we're not going to be able to remove it. Unless we get regime change. And that doesn't remove the actual marker, but it allows us to carry disrupt operations there. So... I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to do here with this. It does allow us to play the Musharraf card. But we could just have easily played that for the 2 ops and done something with 2 ops. Have another go at Afghanistan, I suppose. Remove oneself from Pakistan, set it to poor ally. Yeah, see, the problem is that if I play the Fatah card, I have to play the... yeah. Musharraf requires a cell in Pakistan. Fatah puts a cell in Pakistan, but also stops all disrupt operations in Pakistan. Musharraf, we play if the cell is a cell in Pakistan, we remove the cell. That's allowed because it's played through event. We set this to poor ally. We can then move troops into there. But the troops are not going to be any good because there's going to be a cadre marker in there. But we can't disrupt it. Is that right? Yeah, because the event will remove this. When the cell gets placed in Pakistan, the cadre marker will go away. And then when we remove the cell with Musharraf, it'll still put the cadre marker back. It'll set this to poor ally, but it doesn't work, does it? It's not good. I shouldn't be playing Fatah. I shouldn't be playing it. And we just have to give up on the Musharraf cards. So that means I want to discard Fatah, not play it at all. So it means I'm going to have to play this. Which means Saudi Arabia is going to go back to neutral. Hold on though, we've got troops in Saudi Arabia. So that doesn't remove them with it going to neutral, does it? I mean, we can't put troops in there unless it was ally, but it going to neutral there's nothing to say, I've not read anywhere, that you've got to remove the troops. No, that's not ringing any bells at all. So if this was neutral, we wouldn't be able to deploy troops into there. However, if there's troops there, there's nothing to say they're removed. So I think I'm going to have to play Al Jazeera. I'll hang on to Musharraf because there's nothing to say that they might not still recruit into here. So you probably want to leave these troops here, Grant. Yeah, well, we could move the troops out of Gulf states. Bear in mind, we can actually move the troops out of Afghanistan, but that's a withdrawal operation, which is slightly different. Remove troops from regime change. Removes aid. Places... No, hang on. Removes aid, place Baziz regime. Well, there's already one there. We've got the answer to that one. You can't have another one there. Oh, well, you couldn't with the major jihad failure. I'm guessing the same would be with withdrawal. If I looked into the rule, it'll say Place Abizi's regime, unless there's one there. Let's just have a double check of that. 7.3.5. I think it is. Withdraw. Place Abizi's regime marker there, if there is not one already there. Well, there is one. So withdrawing the troops would not add another one. It would remove the aid marker though. So yeah, I don't want to do that. I think what I want to do is move these 2 troops to Somalia for the first card. And then it's going to be 2 3-ops cards. That means I'm not going to be able to place the Sally card. Because I'm going to need 2 3-ops cards. And, well, I've got 3, but I've decided we don't want to play that. So we may not be playing this. If you just play, unless Islam's rule, shift it to ally and place 1 aid. That's pretty good. I mean, unless I keep it for next turn, maybe just move the troops with that and play this for the event. They've got, what, 3 cards left, I said? Yeah, maybe something like that, and then keep it for next turn. Keep Somalia for next turn. Cells are active. I mean, I should probably be taking advantage of the fact that they're active just now and getting rid of them and gaining the prestige, you know. Right, okay. I'm going to play Al Jazeera. Obviously, for the ops, it's a jihadist card. We're just going to trigger the event first. So let's be done with that now. It's play Saudi Arabia or an adjacent country as troops. Well, Saudi Arabia and an adjacent country as troops. See, the fact that I think I was querying this before, and I just sort of think some of the wording. Yeah, I know. I keep saying it's probably just me, but it might be. Play if Saudi Arabia or an adjacent country has troops. Shift the country 1 box towards adversary. So what is the country? Is the country Saudi Arabia? Right? Or is it one of the adjacent countries that have got troops? Or is it an option? Well, hold on. Why don't you look in the event table? Just in case. Because I think if you were playing that as a player, not a bot, you would have the option. But card 77. There's nothing. So I mean, surely that's not a silly question. Play if Saudi Arabia or an adjacent country has troops, right? Shift the country, I'm highlighting the, shift the country 1 box towards adversary. Saudi Arabia's got troops. Gulf states, which is adjacent, has troops as well. I mean, technically, like, Jordan could have troops, Iraq could have troops, Yemen could have troops. Shift the country 1 box towards adversary. That's not a daft question, I don't think. Yeah, I'm going to look into that a bit more because, you know, if it clearly just said, I mean, unless the is Saudi Arabia, I mean, as the card mentions Saudi Arabia, it would have been far clearer if it said shift. You know, that's the condition to play it. And if it said shift Saudi Arabia 1 box towards adversary. But it's not, it's saying the. And it's giving you Saudi Arabia, but also adjacent countries. Or is it just me? And everybody else is saying, it's Saudi Arabia, Grant. It doesn't matter if the other adjacent countries have troops, Saudi Arabia is the one that you shift. I don't know, I don't see that clear on the card, to be honest. Right, this might be causing trouble then. I looked for a BGG regarding Al Jazeera. Unfortunately, somebody asked the exact question here is what I'm asking, and nobody answered it. Can it be in Saudi Arabia? Or the other country with troops. However, I did look into it a bit further, and to me the impression was that the player, again, let's just think it's a two-player game here though, unfortunately, that the player can choose either Saudi Arabia or an adjacent country with troops, which is kind of how the card reads, doesn't it? It says shift the country, which kind of suggests that as long as the country's got troops and it's either Saudi Arabia or an adjacent country to Saudi Arabia, then you can shift that country. Now, if we're playing this, the bot's going to have to make the decision here, and he's got two choices, isn't it? Gulf states and Saudi Arabia. So, I don't know. I'm not sure if it matters to me or not, but I don't know how to pick I don't know how to decide between that. 9.4.2.1 was mentioned by Volkorunke, the designer. Now I know that's regarding the older rules, but I'm just trying to see if I can get something out of that. For event-driven activities, use jihadist activities charts as follows. For pot placement, that's not what we're doing. Here we go. See that? It's at the top there. For governance or alignment shifts, use minor jihad. For Iran and Iran the Shia, oh god. Right, that's not going to help us, is that? Because we're using a different bot here. So is there anything about governance or alignment shifts? And then, here we go. That is in the new rules, look. Alignment and governance on page 8 here, 12.3.7. Now, to be honest, I didn't search up my question here in the new... I should do that. Give me a second. Alright, well, that was brief anyway. I got no hits from searching for Al Jazeera and the Awakening rules. So, let's just carry on where we were there, because this is what's happening. So, alignment and governance. I mean, normally the bot player doesn't mess with alignment anyway, but this is a case where it would. So, well, let's read on that. It says, when an event instructs to shift alignment or alter governance, the jihadist bot selects the target country using the jihad column of the priorities table. The jihadist bot always shifts alignment towards adversary and worsens governance towards Islamist rule. If playing the event would shift alignment towards ally or improve governance, jihadist bot deems the event unplayable. So we use using the jihad column of the priorities table. Right. So let's just see. I mean, I might change my mind about playing this if it's something that, if it ends up being, it can either be Gulf states or Saudi Arabia. I'm not sure if I want one over the other or not, but let's see what we'd pick. So jihad column, I remember it said priorities table, so we're not, well, there's no a jihad flowchart anyway. So, and it's between Gulf states, which is fair, Saudi Arabia, which is poor, right? If jihad, it's not. Pakistan, it's not. Baziz regime, none of them are. Then we've got expansion with aid, no. Regime change unless no troops, no. Highest resource, right, there's the winner then. So, using that jihad column, the first priority is that applies is highest resource. So it would Select Saudi Arabia over... Hey, they're both 3, Grant. Sorry, I'm looking at that wrong. They're both 3. Carry on. So with troops, well, they're clearly both got troops because that's what's required to be doing it. Expansion, no, that's not expansion, Grant. Actually, that was not expansion. I'm forgetting that the double... No, it is. Sorry, it's the one dagger that's... Well, let's go back. That's expansion. That's not, it didn't apply. That's expansion with aid. Regime change unless no troops. Highest resource, they're both 3. With troops, they've both got troops. Nothing else there. And then nothing else here until the bottom. Most cells, none of them have got cells. Adjacent to Islamist rule or oil exporter. None of them are adjacent to, and they're both oil exporters. Okay, so it'd be a random. Ugh. Yeah, it'd be a random choice. We can't break it down. Well, you're going to have to play this card anyway, Grant, aren't you? Now, would I prefer that? Or would I prefer that? Then, when they're at neutral, if you want to do the war ideas, you have to shift them back to ally. I've already said that the fact that there's troops in there, I don't think anything happens to the troops. There's certainly nothing that I've read, so... Yeah, I'm limited to what I can do here, though. You know, I'm playing this card because I kind of have to. I mean, I'm not going to alter the Gulf states or Saudi Arabia. Well, the rest of this turn, there's no cards that let me do anything there. Could I end up with troops elsewhere? Well, I think... yeah, you could, because aren't you talking about one of the things you're going to do is move these troops down to here? That would then mean that Somalia and Gulf states would be under that condition with Al Jazeera, wouldn't it? Oh, well, I'm going to have to randomise between the two. Right, let's just do it then. So play if Saudi Arabia or an adjacent country has troops, so it's playable. So, well, actually, let's see the event then. 77 in a second. Yeah, again, it's on the left-hand page. Al Jazeera, sponsored by the Emir of Qatar and largely staffed by Palestinians, popular news channel Al Jazeera became a phenomenon by introducing a politically critical mass medium to the Arab world. Unfortunately for the struggle against extremism, however, the station during much of the post-9/11 period aired smuggled al-Qaeda videos, gruesome and relentless war footage from Gaza or Iraq, and partisan commentary on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So remember, we're playing, it's us playing this card, so we've got 3 ops. Yeah, I think... Yeah, the purpose of the ops is to move the troops, interestingly, though. So... You know what, though? See if we did... If we were to move the troops first, Gulf States is the one that's going to be affected because it's got it's got highest resources of 3 compared to Somalia, well 1. It's also an oil exporter, where Somalia is not. And that's what I'm saying. If I do it the other way about and play the ops first to move these troops, to deploy these troops into here, then it's between Gulf States and Somalia. And I don't think I'll... No, you've just already said, Grant, it's going to be Gulf States, isn't it? Because it's a higher priority with the resources. So I think I will play the event first, right? So we're going to shift the country 1 box towards adversary. It's either going to be that or that. We've went right through the priorities table under the jihad column, which it tells us to do in the rules 12.3.7. When an event instructs to shift alignment or alter governance, the jihadist bot selects the target country using the jihad column of the priorities table. Yeah, and then obviously it's not going to improve it or that. It's going to, and then I don't need to go through this again. Just quickly looking at myself. There was none on Busy's regime. Expansion. None of them with aid. Regime change. Highest resource, they're both 3s. And then they both got troops. Well, actually, that would... no, the troops part is part of the... what one it's going to shift, isn't it? And then it comes down to most cells adjacent to Islamist rule, which neither of them are. And then the very last one is oil exporter, which they both are. So we'd have to randomise between the two. So let's do that. So 1, 2, 3 it's Gulf States. 4, 5, 6 is going to be Saudi Arabia. I'm not really sure which one. So it's a 2. I sort of feel like I preferred it to have been that, but however, 1, 2, 3 was Gulf States. So Gulf States is now fair but neutral. Okay, right, now we've got our 3 ops. Well, in actual fact, well, no, I was going to take the troops from there, wasn't I? So now I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take the troops from Saudi Arabia, aren't I? Because I can't move troops into there while it's neutral. It needs to be ally, whereas I can move troops into Saudi Arabia. So we're doing 3 ops. And we're doing a deploy operation, I think. Where are we? Deploy, move troops is the purpose. Target, ally, Muslim country, or the troop track. This is an ally Muslim country. It's got a poor governance, which means we need a 3 ops. We've played 3 ops. So we're allowed to do that, and we just move the troops. We move as many as we want from just one area, isn't it? Where is it? Troops. That's a tongue twister. Treat troops track is good 1. If from regime change must have at least, yeah, it's not that. So it says result: move any number of troops from one location on the board to the target. So it's not that we can pick troops from here and elsewhere. Ooh. You could bring them off the troops track, huh? I'm not sure. I don't know. Do I want to do that? No. You know why I don't want to do that? Because that then means that we're going to go into overstretch, doesn't it? So we're going to lose a card. Yeah, so we don't want to do that. Right, and there's not a real need to have... hang on. Does it allow us to deploy them from regime change then? If from regime change country, must we leave at least 5 more troops in cells? Yeah, so I'd only be able to move 1 of them. 5 more troops than cells. There's no cells. So we still need 5 troops, don't we? Yeah, I mean, I can do the withdrawal, but that's a different thing. So I can only really move these 2 or these 2. And it makes more sense moving these. I think. Yeah, I think so, because I can put troops back into there if I really needed to, whereas I can't at the moment into there. So I'm going to move these 2 troops down into there. And that is going to be that, isn't it? So we played the Al Jazeera event. We've played our 3 ops. So now, yeah, and I'm just stalling here because I don't know what I'm doing next. Don't want to play this card now because we took the hit on the Al Jazeera card. So we've decided this is bad, even though it sort of worked with us a little bit. So I think I've got to either now play my Salad card, either for the event or to do a disrupt in Somalia. Right, being on pause there a little bit. I have decided what I'm going to do. Oh, I'm just looking, what have we got? 30 minutes almost. So, I might get... No, I don't think you will get the turn finished, can I? I'm going to have to take a bit of a break, get some tea, and hopefully get back for another part, though. Okay, so we got the troops down put in Somalia. That's my 3 cards left. That was my first card play, Al Jazeera card, obviously. Did suffer a little bit from that. Don't want to play that. So, my debate was, do I use this to disrupt these 2 cells, gaining me a prestige, and like removing the 2 cells, remember it will leave a cadre, or do I play Saleh, assuming it's pronounced that way, for its event, Test Yemen, so it's either going to be poor neutral or fair neutral, and then if US play, unless Islamist rule, shift it to ally and place 1 aid. Now, I'm just going over that again, sort of the word in, so could it mean here that unless there's a country with Islamist rule? I don't think so. But let me just check that. Yeah, I looked over this already. So we test Yemen. Now remember, Yemen right now could be tested, and it could be Islamist rule. But then again, why would you? But is the text not got to be on the card just in case that's the case? It has to sort of say that unless it's Islamist rule, shift it to ally and place 1 aid. Test Yemen. If US play, unless Islamist rule, shift it to ally. Yeah, shift it to ally. So, it's not saying test Yemen, and then if US play, unless Yemen... No, hang on. Unless there's Islamist rule country out there, shift Yemen to ally and place 1 aid. It's not saying that, is it? It's saying unless Yemen is Islamist rule. The problem there is I can't... The card becomes unplayable if Yemen is Islamist rule, isn't it? It does nothing. But I suppose I think the text has got to be there to cover it for that, because if it didn't say unless Islamist rule, it could be Islamist rule and you could shift it to ally, so it'd be a country with Islamist rule ally, and you get to place 1 aid. Yeah. I think that's the case. Right, I'm going to play this for the event and just hope that we've got that right. I'm pretty sure it's right. I don't really think it makes sense. I do wish that just the wording was just that completely clear, which is kind of... I don't think it is sometimes, but again, probably just me. Right, 119 Saleh, 2001 to question mark. Recalling frictions over the investigation of Al Qaeda's 2000 bombing of the USS Cole in a Yemeni port, the US after 9/11 pressed Yemeni President Ali Abdullah Saleh to join the war on terror unequivocally. But strong Islamic factions and prevalent anti-US sentiment in the country kept Saleh on a tightrope. Yemen accepted US anti-terror assistance but refused to extradite its detainees involved in the Cole plot. The later release or escape of all those detainees, along with continued Al-Qaeda haven in less controlled parts of the country, fueled US suspicions and diversion of Yemeni security forces from anti-Al-Qaeda operations to the quelling of the Shiite rebellion in the north of the country, left Yemen's alliance with the US as equivocal at the outset of President Obama's administration as it had been in Bush's. Okay, so we're playing Saleh. Yemen leader plays double game. So test Yemen. If US play unless Islam's rule, shift it to ally and place 1 aid. Right, so here's Yemen. It's not being tested, so we do need to test it. So when you do an initial test for governance, it's going to be neutral and either poor on a roll of 1 to 4 or fair on a roll of 5 to 6. So I mean, ideally we're looking for 5 or a 6 here. That's a 1, but on its side, but anyway, right. So poor, we're going to have a poor neutral Yemen initially. That's the initial test. However, the card says to, unless it's Islamist rule, it is not, shift it to ally and place 1 aid. So we shift it to ally, which means we can move troops in there, and we get an aid marker also, which can help if we want to try and war of ideas there. I mean, I still feel like it was probably worth playing for the event. I don't know. Maybe some of you would have said, let's deal with Somalia here. You're trying to mess about in too many countries, and I could see that possibly being the case. Anyway, we've got an extra poor country, so I want to say that's up to 8 now. Just glancing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 poor countries in it, and 1 Islamist rule is 8. And 1, 2, 3, 4 fair countries, yeah. And the only score on at the moment is the 2 Islamist resources for Islamist rule in Central Asia. Okay. Right, that's our 2 cards played. This was played for event, but it just goes discard. And well, actually, they were both played for event, but no removal of them, so just go discard. Right, we've got 2 cards left, of one of which we're not one to play. This one we've got play if Pakistan is in the cell, so I figure in case, you know, it might end up that they recruit or put a cell in there and then it becomes playable. I don't want it playable through this. I think that would be bad and silly probably, but right, let's see. They've got 3 cards left, so back over to them and we'll get this part wrapped up shortly. Al-Azhar as a US card, so 2 ops, but you can see they do have 1 reserve there. So they're going to use it for 3 ops. Yeah, I'm sure that's just going to happen, isn't it? Okay, so over the flow chart. 2 ops is a playable non-use event. It is not. Is there a major jihad success at poor possible? Well, now Somalia's been reduced to 2 cells. I mean, that's got to be right. That it said a jihad removes the cells on failures. It didn't specifically mention major jihad, but I'm sure that happens. I'm sticking by that. And well, if we've got that wrong, then there's a big horrible question mark now. There's no major jihad success if possible. Is funding tight? It is not. Is there a cell in good or fair Muslim? I don't think so. No, we've got a cell in the United Kingdom now as well, mind, which I need to keep an eye on. But then we've still got the 2 cells in the US. So, poor Muslim, Islamist rule Muslim. So there's not a cell in good or fair Muslim. So no. As a poor Muslim, 1 to 4 more cells than troops. Yes, in Egypt and in Somalia, we've got that same situation though, where there's no adjacent cell. There's no cell adjacent to them. So this is a yes, but whether the candidate, well, I think did we not already decide the candidate is Somalia? There's nothing adjacent to it. If it was Egypt, there's nothing adjacent to that either. So that goes yes and then no. Fund and moderate, no. Cell available, yeah, there's 4 cells still there. So going to recruit with 2 ops, but I can do it for 3. So it's going to use its reserve and attempt to recruit into Somalia, isn't it? Yeah, so we're going to have our more work cut out. But at least we've got the troops there now. Well, problem is if they... Yeah, we've got 2 troops, so that was the other thing. It helps. They now need 7 cells there to be able to do the major jihad. So it was beneficial doing that. Yeah, I should have thought about that. Because remember I was saying about using the card and getting the disrupt right away. Well, that's enough. Because they were always only going to be able to recruit 3 at the most. So while we've got the 2 troops there, they now need 7 cells. Good, okay. I'd like to say that I credited myself with thinking about it that way, but I didn't. Recruiting travel 2. What are we doing? We're recruiting, yeah. So recruiting travel 2. Poor Muslim with 1 to 4. Poor Muslim with 1 to 4 more cells than troops. That's my... I was wondering what that noise was. It was my stomach rumbling. I've not had any food yet. Okay, I don't know if you heard that or not. I'm clearly needing some food. So, poor Muslim with 1 to 4 more cells than troops. Could be Somalia or could be Egypt as well. But we stop there and come down here and, yeah. Not as I'm sure Pakistan's still in that situation with just having the cadre. You know, we'd kind of like a cell to go in there so that we could play Musharraf in a way, but anyway. So no, and then Basij regime as the third priority. Somalia is Basij regime, so it's going to use all 3 attempts to recruit into Somalia. That was using the reserve as well, remember? So 3 die rolls, Somalia is poor. So anything with a 1 to 3 is a success. Okay, so 1 success and 2 failures. So we are going to get 1 cell. I'll just put it like that for now. 1 cell, and it's obviously a sweeper. The other 2 are active. So that wasn't too bad for us, I guess. Yeah. You happy with that, Grant? I feel like I'm moving along swiftly from Grant's type of playing anyway. So hopefully I'm not missing things. So that was our first card play. Alright, second card play is Mass Turnout, another US card. So no reserves this time. Is the exact same thing not going to happen? Surely it is, Grant. I mean, it is going. I'm pretty sure it is, but let's just be careful, just in case. So no. There's only 3 cells. No. Sorry. Yes. However, same situation. As in, yes, and we go here, and then no. No. Cell available, yes, recruit. There's only 3 cells left on the track. And again, when we come to recruit, again, it's going to stop here. Because there's 2 options, Egypt or Somalia. And again, Basij regime takes the prize, if you like. So they're going to attempt to recruit, rolling 3 dice. They don't have reserve, but it's a 3-ops card. So 3 dice. Again, it's a poor country, so 1 to 3 are successes. 2 5s this time, and 1 success. So only 1 success out of both of the 3-ops attempts. So another cell comes down. That's 4, but remember we've got 2 troops, so... Oh, stop. Okay, mistake, eh? That's what... Yeah, I've noticed it now. But it's relevant to the previous card, isn't it? So they're both card plays this turn. I'd like to keep my die rolls if I can. So 2 6s and a 3, I want to say, and then 2 5s and a 1. It was 2 failures and a success on a poor country, right? On both rolls. So let's just see what would happen. Yeah, because the reason we need to step back here is although this is a yes, it's not a yes to this. Because remember, let me just take these two. Let's put these two back on the track, right? We started the jihadist phase like this. 2 cells and 2 troops. Well, that's not 1 to 4 more cells than troops. So yeah, I've just jumped in there. So let me put mass turnout back on top just now. So we're resetting back to the start of their action phase, and I'm going to keep. I'd like to keep the die rolls because I think we might be rolling in here. I think it's only fair. We're still. So there are 2 ops, and remember we had a reserve as well, right? Right. Okay. I'll just rewind a little bit, but keep the die rolls. I mean, I would keep these die rolls if they were good as well. Remember, don't say that I should re-roll them again. If for some reason we were now rolling in a fair country, I would redo the die rolls. But it's a poor country, it's a poor country, and we've got the same amount of ops, so we're going to roll 3 dice both times. I think it's just going to be in Egypt rather than Somalia, isn't it? Because we drew this card, right? So that's the situation in Somalia, and I've blundered, but just caught it in time, I think. That's a no. That's a no. That's a no. That's a no. That is a yes. Poor Muslim with 1 to 4 more cells and troops. But it's not a yes here, it's a yes here. Right? So, well, we know that that's a priority, but when it comes to here, we go, is there a cell adjacent? There's not a cell adjacent, so that's a no. So it still comes funded moderate, no, cell available, yes, recruit. But when it says this statement, poor Muslim 1 to 4 more cells, it's not Somalia and Egypt, it's just Egypt. So we don't go down the priorities table, and we would have rolled the recruit on there. We rolled 2 6s and a 3. So 1 success. I'll put it like that. Right. And we used up the reserve, right, which I've taken down again. Then our second card play, again, is 3 ops. And just to double check, because there you go, we found it. So that's a no, no, yes, but only Egypt, because again, that's 2 and 2. That comes to that, but that's a no, because there's no cell adjacent. Is there funded moderate? No. Is there cell available? Yes. Recruit again. We come here. Poor Muslim 1 to 4 more cells and troops is only Egypt. So, and then we rolled that. So 1 success. So yeah. So basically what happened there is I'd put the 2 successful recruit cells in here, but I should not have, because Somalia is not 1 to 4 more cells than troops. It's 2 and 2. It's not got. If it had 1 more cell in there to the 2 troops, yes, but it's not. So it shouldn't have been getting that first cell. Okay, so we caught that error just in time, I think. And yeah, and I think it's, like I say, the die. I'm not going to roll the dice there again, because, you know, that's what we'd have rolled there, and that's what we'd have rolled there again the second time. It's fine. And I would have done it if there was a big mound of cells. You know, if all had been successes, I would have still allowed that roll to be the same. Okay, so 2 cards played by them. Just wonder if I can squeeze the end of turn in. So that's 2 cards away. Well, so nothing's happened in Pakistan. As in, Musharraf's not playable. So, and I've got to either play that or that, and even if I played that, I've still got to play 2 cards, so I've got to play that. So we're not going to play that, we're going to keep that and discard that, even though it's 3 ops. It's a horrible card, I think. There's still part of me saying, well, you could combo this out and get 3 ops and get that, but I'm pretty sure it'd be a mistake. Like, I'm pretty sure I don't want to not be able to disrupt in Pakistan. Yeah, I'm sticking by that. Let's go with that. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Mushraf for the ops, because I can't play it for the event, unfortunately. So 2 ops, and I suppose I was thinking about having a go at Afghanistan again. Well, I mean, I would do the disrupt in Somalia, but we need 3 ops, so I need to be operating in a fair ally or neutral country here. So it's either Indonesia, Malaysia, Gulf states, or Afghanistan. I can't even do it in Syria because it's fair adversary. So I think we have a bash at Afghanistan and to good, again. So is it still a +1? -1 for trying to go to good. So we're doing a war of ideas in Afghanistan. +1 for prestige being at +1. And then +1 for the aid. No adjacent good allies. So yeah, it's a +1. Let's just do it. I've had a few shots at this and we just don't seem to get there. We need a 4 or better. Come on. Yay! Okay, at last. We get a result. So we get successful war of ideas. And remember, it's got it is regime change, so it had to have 5 more troops and cells. There's no cells there. It's just 6 troops, and it had to be neutral or ally. It is ally. So if success, shift neutral to ally or improve allies governance by 1. So we are shifting it to good. So if to good, remove all regime change, besieged regime, and aid markers. Oh, besieged regime as well. I didn't think about that. Right. So we are shifting to good in Afghanistan. Good, and it stays ally. We're removing regime change. Besieged regime. And aid. Okay, the troops stay. Remove all regime change, besieged regime, and aid markers, and then a failure. No, that's it. So, well, it's almost that, because we're going to also get a point. You see that Afghanistan's only 1 resource. So that goes up to 1. The fact the country was, well, it's good now, it was fair, that's fine. Hey, okay, maybe things are changing. I think it's been a pretty decent turn for us, considering the last few turns, so good. Right, is that us? Yeah, well, we only had, well, that's our first card play, and then for our second card play, we're just going to discard this. Wouldn't been played for event, so it just gets discarded, and then that was our second card play, so that just discards as well. Right, they've only got 1 card left, so I should be able to finish the turn here, unless it's something really complicated. Yeah, another good thing is now we've got these troops, which we can now move back. We can deploy. It's not regime change anymore, so we can deploy these troops back. Well, we can move them wherever we want, to be honest, but Oh, that would have been nice actually. I mean, I've no cards left, but if I'd been able to deploy at least five of them back to, mind you, you might want to leave two there, Afghanistan maybe. But getting five back to there would move my troops marker up to low intensity and I'll get to draw 9 cards again. But anyway, I'm out of cards. So let's see the last jihadist card play of this turn. Ooh, Axis of Evil. That doesn't sound good, does it? Okay, yeah, I'm just looking at the text at the top. Obviously, it's only relevant to certain scenarios, isn't it? But we were playing Let's Roll. Obviously, some scenarios I'll not have this card in it. But we were starting from that. So, Axis of Evil. US likens Iran, Iraq, and North Korea. Okay. So, 3 Ops Jihadist event. The US discards any Iran, Hezbollah, or Jaish al-Mahdi cards from hand. Oh my god. Look at the rest of it. Look at the rest of this card. I have no cards in my hand. I'm thinking, woo, result. US posture to hard, then roll prestige. Are you having a laugh? Seriously? I'm looking for some help with the events instruction table, which always benefit the bot, so I'm unlikely to find something. 78. Yeah, there is instructions if you were playing as a US bot. It says US does not discard. Thing is, I'm not going to discard any of the cards anyway because I've not got a hand. I've nothing in my hand. However, that's not a prerequisite. It's not grey text for if the card gets played. The card's going to still get played for the event. I'm just not going to discard a card. My posture's going to go hard. The last card play of the turn. Come on. That's cruel. That's so cruel. And wait to see what the prestige roll is going to be as well. I bet it gets even worse. Oh my. Right, card 78. Right, 78, Axis of Evil, 2002 to 2008. When President Bush in his State of the Union speech... Sorry, let me start that again. When President Bush in his State of the Union speech in the midst of military operations in Afghanistan declared of Iran, Iraq and North Korea that states like these and their terrorist allies constitute an axis of evil. It seemed to expand the war on Al-Qaeda and close the door on US cooperation with Iran against a common Sunni jihadist enemy. For better or ill, the speech and the phrase continued to reverberate publicly and diplomatically throughout the US president's tenure. Okay, so a horrible end to this turn for me. Right, I don't have any cards in my hand, so I can't discard any of the cards. And they're clearly playing this for the event. There's nothing to stop it being played. So US posture is getting set to hard. Look at this. We now have a -3 global war on terror relations penalty. I want to say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 soft countries out there and only one hard country, and the US. So it's hang on. Well, that doesn't hurt us end the turn, does it? No. We were hoping to benefit end the turn by being soft. Right, and then, well, come on, please don't do this to me. So we now got to roll prestige as well. So, so just as a reminder, when you roll prestige, it can randomly drop or raise US prestige. Let's hope it's the latter. After regime change, withdraw and block pot in the United States or by an event. It's this event. So we're going to roll a die and we're going to modify a die roll by... Yeah, because, I mean, well, on the card it says US posture to hard, then roll prestige. So it's actually slapping you in the face there, isn't it's if you were soft, it's making you hard. And you're clearly probably going to have been soft because the world is soft, and now you're going to have this penalty. So we go into this die roll with... Now this is just a -1, it's not a -3. The -3 would be for a War of Ideas attempts at the moment. However, so we roll a die and we modify the die roll by -1 if the global war on terror relations penalty is more than 0. It is more than 0, it's -3. So we're getting a -1 to that. So only a 6 is going to help us here. Only a 6. So a 1 to 4 is going to drop, and then we roll 2 dice, pick the lower amount. A 5 to 6 is going to raise it. We roll 2 dice and pick the lower amount, or raise it by that. However, we have a -1 modifier of this die roll. That's horrible. That's just... What a nasty finish. I just started to say that this is probably the better turn we've had throughout the game now. We're not even going through half the deck, just under half the deck, but this is probably the best turn we've had, and it finishes with the Axis of Evil. Okay, so what am I rolling? Well, I'm going to use my dice for this. US posture to hard. We roll for prestige with a -1 modifier, so we need a 6. And that's nowhere near it. So 2 -1 is a prestige. Oh, I've got to roll 2 dice now. So we're dropping our prestige by rolling 2 dice and picking the lower number. Okay. Oh God, couldn't get too much worse than that. I dare say 2 5s or 2 6s would have been worse. So we're going to drop our prestige by 4. 1, 2, 3. Look at this. 4. What a blow. Right down in the low track, US Prestige, giving us another -1 War of Ideas. Right now, our War of Ideas roll is -4. Well, the modifiers there are -4. That is just horrible. What a cruel finish to this turn. Okay. They only had the 1 card. They played it for the event. It's not an associate card. It just gets... That actually comes back, that card as well. Eugh. Well, like I say, we're only playing the 1 deck thing. Right, okay. That is end of turn, so I might as well just wrapping this end of turn sequence up before we cut this. What, I'm an hour and 3 minutes. Right, and then get some food to stop my rumbling dummy. Okay, so -1 to funding. Okay, it's stayed on 8 there. Yeah, because they didn't get the Islamistan and Somalia, did they? So there's that. So they're down to 7, but it's still ample. So no biggie to them, really. Right, -1 prestige. Yeah, I was forgetting. It's gone down on 1. If any country under Islamist rule, we have Central Asia under Islamist rule there, so our prestige is dropping even further, down to 2. Yeah, jolly good. +1 prestige, which we were hoping to get. Let me just switch up and read the words on that. So, if net world posture is 3, and the same posture as the US posture, we would get +1 prestige. But we were sitting with that just a few minutes ago. We were sitting like this. And we would have got that +1 prestige. So it would have balanced this out. However, that last event put us to hard, so we're not getting that. It's a cruel game. Remove laps and events, there's none of them. Reserves to 0, we've not got any reserves. That's at 0 anyway. Deal new hands, and then regime change to tan. There's no regime change in play. I will deal new hands. We're still yeah, five troops there. So we are 8 cards. They're still an ample, so they're getting 9 cards. We'll see if I can pull 17 cards off the top there. No, I don't think that's enough, Grant. Right, so 1, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 to them. 9 to them, 8 to us. Oops. And the rest go back. So actually, that's us probably halfway through the deck now. Well, I'll be just over because there's 17 cards here. So that's ours. 3, 4, 7, 8. Just double checking. We've got 8, and they should have 9. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just in case they stick together sometimes. My sweaty hands, it can happen. Right, that's them ready to go. Right, just about ready to go on in our turn. I will take a break though and try and get myself something to eat, I think. So what a shocking end to the turn. Which I was feeling so much better about. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah, kind of horrible. Right, okay, I'll be hopefully getting our bit done tonight. I'd like to anyway, so fingers crossed. So I'll be back soon. Cheers.